Welcome to the Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Pastor Grivena. Or Doug.
Hey.
I guess we could do it. We could say Doug, right?
You could say Doug.
We could say Doug. Or hey you.
Or hey you. Well, that doesn't really work in a radio studio with lots of people.
That's right. We have guests today.
Which we have. Lots of people in the studio, which is very exciting. This used to be a normal thing. It is no longer quite such a normal thing. So this is a very special day in studio. We have a robot in studio. So for our regular Coffee Hour listeners, this is a usual thing that happens every year. We have the Robo Raiders in studio, and that is happening today. So very exciting. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for your support of the Coffee Hour. You can find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
You got my line today. And Doug, I understand that this is a very exciting interview for you as well. Oh,
absolutely. You know, back in the day, I was an electrical engineer, computer science major in college. So I loved geeking out and building things and robots. I built a widget sorter, which was totally pointless. It was just for a project. But it took these little rectangles with a circle in the middle, and it sorted them, which was probably very passé, because your robot makes my widget sorter look... well, there's not a good word for that.
Yes, the Robo Raiders always bring a very cool robot into studio with us, and after we are out of the studio in a little while, yes, we will show you this robot on social media. So go there at KFUO Facebook. Facebook. Yes, find us. KFUO Radio on Facebook. So let's introduce the Robo Raiders we have in studio. Why don't you start?
Hello, my name is Nathaniel, and I am the assistant project manager for the team, and I am also the engineering lead.
Very good. Welcome, Nathaniel.
I'm Gloria. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm the project manager on the team.
Very nice.
I'm Caroline, and I am a sophomore in high school, and I am the outreach lead and the engineering sub-lead.
Very good.
Hello, I am Peter. I am also a sophomore, and I am the programming lead this year.
Very nice. So for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to listen to a Robo Raiders conversation before and see your awesome robots, what are the Robo Raiders and what do you guys actually get to do?
Yeah, so we're the Robo Raiders. We're an FTC team, which stands for First Tech Challenge. And now FIRST is basically a program for robotics. And there are three main levels of FIRST. So the first, the smallest level is for ages or grades K through, is it 9th, I think? Or K through 8th? Right. So that level is called FLL, which stands for First Lego League. And then comes FTC, which is the program that we're a part of. That stands for First Tech Challenge. We build 18 by 18-inch robots to compete in challenges. And then the highest level is FRC, and they build really big robots, like 5 foot tall, to do big challenges. So yeah,
ooh, like making coffee for pastors in the
cool,
coffee hour.
I haven't seen any robots like that so far.
Next year's challenge, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So some of you are returning members, some of you are new members. What is it that brought you in to the first challenge that really excited you? Or what's keeping you there? What is it that really sparks your passion?
So actually, I was in FLL, the younger level underneath what we're in, and I really enjoyed it. And I was actually a part of a team that the Robo Raiders mentored, Sparklers, and I really enjoyed the robotics experience, and I saw the Robo Raiders and they mentored us, so I really looked into it, and then I joined the team.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I've been a part of FIRST actually for 8 years. Yeah. I started in FLL, like Caroline was saying, and so yeah, that I just started out basically because I wanted something to do, and robotics sounded like a lot of fun, but it's really kept me in because of I guess how much fun it is. Well, I don't necessarily want to pursue a career in engineering in the future necessarily, but FIRST obviously is more than robotics, and they teach you a lot of very valuable life skills that is very helpful and fun.
Yes, absolutely. So, along those lines, what are some of the things that you've learned being on a robotics team that may or may not be related to engineering? Because I know each of you have very specific roles in this team to help the team be successful. So, what are some of those things that you've learned?
Yeah, so I've definitely learned a lot this year. I am the programming lead. So I've definitely learned about programming, but a large part of being the programming lead isn't exactly actually programming the robot. It's about helping others to program the robot as well, teaching them, assigning different work. So it's really helped me realize that I could lead someone, could teach someone, whereas I was very uncomfortable at the start.
Mm-hmm.
As the project manager, I've had to learn a lot of things. So I've learned things on both the soft skills side and the robot side. So I've learned a lot about leadership and building display boards and making portfolios and designing things like flyers. And I've also learned about how to build a robot and how to design a robot and how to compete in a competition and how to work with professionals and work as a team and a lot of things like that.
Yeah, as Gloria said, I really have learned a lot of servant leadership, teaching others while learning. And I think that that's one of the big things FIRST offers is really being a community and a team working together to compete and complete one goal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Caroline, I love that word community because that is, God created us for community. Remember, the first thing that God said wasn't good in creation, right, was that man should be alone. And so you have a team together. Now, all of you work together with different skills. You're bringing together a different viewpoint, different perspective. How did all of that come together in this robot? Tell me about the robot this year. Okay, Peter, let's just start with you. Or Peter, you're on the other side. For those of you at home, I'm awful with names. So, Peter, on the other side over there, why don't you give us a little intro on what you guys did, and then Nathaniel, our project lead, I guess, right? Between the two of you, and then Gloria, Caroline, what you guys brought in?
Yeah, so we always begin the season with defining our game strategy. That's looking at the field and seeing what the best things to score on are. We then brainstorm different ideas on different ways we could pick up a block, pick up a ball, different ways that we could pick them up together or pick both of them up at different times. Who knows? So we brainstorm tons of different ideas. We then put them through a decision matrix to decide which one will work best for our robot, where we score them against different criteria. And then whichever we choose, like the top 3 or so, that are scored the highest, and then we prototype them, and then maybe Nathaniel could.
Right. So he was talking about our robot collecting blocks and balls. So yeah, that's the challenge this year. So each year there's a new challenge for a robot to complete. We need to build a robot to do that challenge. So this year basically we have these blocks and balls that we need to collect in a corner of the field. Then we need to go over this barrier, which is like a little 1-inch set of tubes. And then we need to score the blocks and balls that we collected into what's called a shipping hub in the middle, which is able to wobble, and you get more points if it's balanced at the end of the match. So that's really cool.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then there are other parts of the match, too. For example, there's another thing in a corner, which is called a carousel spinner. So basically you put ducks on that, and the robot has to spin the carousel to get the ducks off.
You have to get your ducks in a row.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Gloria, Caroline, tell us a little bit about the robot itself. I mean, because I get to see it here, but radio, it's hard to imagine without the pictures. So tell me a little bit about what this robot looks like for the listeners at home.
So our robot is between 18 by 18 inches, and it there's a collection with these little star wheels, or that's what we call them.
Star wheels.
And it collects the blocks, balls, and ducks, and then moves them into a hopper system on angled sliders. A hopper system is something, in FTC terms, is something that can do two things at the same time. So it collects and delivers the element needed.
Wow.
So then from there, it goes up on the sliders so that it can reach any level of the shipping hub because it has 3 tiers. And then we push out the blocks or balls or ducks or freight, as they're called,
The freight.
with another star wheel, I believe. So then we can score points. And then we also have 2 carousel spinners, one on each side, because you'll never know which side of the field you're going to be on. There's a red side and a blue side. And so the exact opposite of each other, just the reverse. So we have 2 carousel spinners so that we can easily spin the ducks off of the carousel spinner.
So you don't know what this field looks like before your robot shows up at the competition. I mean, you have an idea, but you don't know the exact details of it.
So actually, we able to see the field. The field is revealed at the beginning of the season, basically.
Oh.
And then we have to design the robot to meet that. But then the field basically has, it's a big field. It's 12 by 12 feet, I believe. And so there's room for 4 robots on the field. So we don't know exactly which position our robot will be. But we know what our robot will be doing.
And then these 4 robots all battle it out to the death, right, in the middle of this field.
Somewhat.
Oh my goodness! I was throwing that out as a crazy question.
Not exactly, but it is friendly competition. So there are 2 alliances, so you're going to have one alliance partner that you're going to work with, and you're both working together to collaboratively score points. And then on the other side of the field, there is another alliance with 2 robots on it. And fighting each other is illegal, so
Okay,
you don't
good
want
to
to
know.
do that.
All right,
But
yeah.
you are battling it out for who gets the most points, and then which alliance gets to win those matches. And also, we do get our own field that we have at our meeting place. So we're able to practice on that field that'll be exactly the same at competition. So we practice on both sides of it so that we know that we're prepared for whatever alliance
So your
we're on.
robot is ambidextrous.
Exactly.
There we go.
Very good, very good. We have just about a minute before we have to go to break. But is this robot completely from scratch? This is my favorite question every year.
Yeah, so we buy a lot of the parts, or some of the parts from different websites and stuff, but we also manufacture a lot of the parts with machines that we own. So we design our full robot in a CAD software called Fusion 360. And through that software, we are able to design custom parts to be either 3D printed or we can CNC or laser cut the parts. So the 3D printer, that lives at my house, actually. And so,
Lucky guy.
yeah, it's pretty fun. So we were able to design custom parts in the CAD software. And then we were able to print them on the 3D printer. And this year, I believe we have over 20 3D printed parts on a robot. And then we also are able to design 2D shapes that can be cut out on the laser cutter or CNC out of like plastic or aluminum or stuff like that.
Very, very cool. I love that
Awesome.
so much. We have to take a quick break. We will be right back with the Robo Raiders. You're listening to the Coffee Hour.
At Concordia University, Wisconsin, we believe you were created for a reason: to use your God-given gifts to help others, to live a life of self-sacrifice in a me-first world, to live a life that's uncommon. Whether you're taking one of 50-plus online programs or learning with us in person on the shores of Lake Michigan, you'll be equipped to make an uncommon impact. Learn more at cuw.edu. Concordia University, Wisconsin. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Pastor Grivena.
And we have the Robo Raiders in studio with us. Super fun conversation that we get to have with the homeschool robotics team from across the river. Y'all brought your robot with you, which is very exciting. We will have that on social media when we're done with our conversation in the studio. So if you check out our social media on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll show you what this robot can actually do, the robot we're talking about. Very, very exciting. So with this robot, you guys also do competitions. I guess the whole point of it is to compete in these competitions. Tell us about your upcoming competition, which I understand is tomorrow.
Yes, so tomorrow morning we're going to head off to our 3rd league meet. So our competition schedule is organized so that we have 3 league meets, which are just the robot side. And we're competing for our original placement in the qualifier. So that's our first judge competition. So from there, we compete with the robot side as the same way as we would at a league meet. And then there are also judged parts where we give a presentation and talk about all the rest of the things that we've done during the season, including outreach and team building and other things like that. So tomorrow at this league meet, it's our last one before the qualifier. So we're hoping to score pretty well and place fairly high up in our qualifier so that we have a good chance of performing well.
Okay, so the qualifier. So the league meets tomorrow, then the qualifier, and then because your robot's really impressive. Assuming you decimate the competition. What happens after this league meet? What's the next step?
Yeah, so after the league meet, like Gloria was saying, there's the qualifier. And then if we advance from the qualifier, there are, 3 advancing spots from the qualifier? Four. Sorry, yeah. There are 4 advancing spots from the qualifier. The top 2 alliance, or the top 2 winning alliance teams for the robot. The top 2 robot teams, and then also the top 2 Inspire teams, the 2 teams that won the highest award at the qualifier. Then they advance to the state championships, and then from there they would advance to the world championships.
Now, where are the world championships?
Yeah.
Texas. Okay.
Yeah, the World Championships are held in Houston, Texas this year.
There's a lot of room to have a lot of robots in Texas.
Yes, last year there were actually 2 World Championships, and we actually We got the Inspire Award at States last year, which was really cool. So we got the highest award. We were technically the state champs, and so we would have advanced to the World Championship. Unfortunately, they were canceled last year due to COVID, though.
Oh,
COVID.
That is so disheartening. Oh my goodness.
So what was it like going through that competition last year? Because we talked with you guys last winter about the competition. What was that like?
So actually, for judging, we did a Zoom meeting basically, and they asked us questions and we answered them according to what their question was, and we did a presentation talking about what we did during the season, and then we competed by ourselves. Scoring ourselves on our field, and then from that we would get whatever score. Yeah.
So talk about the other parts of the competition. Obviously, I mean, the robot is the flashy part, but you mentioned there's a lot of other things that happen, a lot of other things that you're judged on. I know meeting with people, doing media things, doing outreach. Talk about some of those opportunities that you're also involved with in addition to the robotics.
Yeah, so there's definitely a ton of things you can learn from first. Of course, I'm learning a lot about programming as the programming lead, but I'm also learning about treating others with kindness and also skills that will be very practical in the future workspaces that I'm in, like team leading, like I said, being gracious with each other will be very handy, and also sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so at competitions, there are, like at the league meets, there's basically just the robot portion, just driving the robot with the other teams. But then during like qualifying at state and world championships, you have your alliance team. So basically, throughout the competition, you would scout other teams, is what it's called, and basically figure out what teams would work best with you on your alliance. And then for those competitions, you would choose the top 4 teams, would choose other teams to be on their alliance to work with them well to score the most points.
So it's like political negotiations and all that, right? World power trading. Yeah, you have a North Atlantic Treaty Alliance or anything like that? No. Okay, so I'd love to know a little bit about what happens to the robot after the competition. I mean, so who gets to take it home and play with it and sleep with it and raise it and teach it to be a good humane robot?
So last year's robot we currently have sitting in our garage where we meet, but it is pretty much half taken apart because we need the pieces.
No,
So
oh my goodness, you
we do
scrounged
have
parts.
to take them apart. But there is one famous robot that was from our very best year. His name is Crossfire, and he is currently fully assembled, and he's waiting for the first team member to reach $1 million in net worth to be able to come and take him home.
And so with this $1 million, then what wonderful world benefiting plans do you have for this robot, right?
I think it's mostly just bragging rights because
Bragging rights, those are always good.
it's the best robot that we ever built, and it got us very far.
So yeah, along with that robot, what we usually do with the past robots or the robots right after they retire.
Retire, yes.
Yes.
Before they're harvested for parts.
Yes, yes. We bring them to demonstrations to show off our robot and teach about FIRST to children, and this would be categorized as our outreach to people. So yeah, and we've reached quite a few people through that, and people really enjoy watching robots do stuff. So
Yes, it is pretty fun.
Along the same lines, we actually build 2 robots most seasons. So the one we have in the studio right now is our first robot that's competing at tomorrow. But then for our qualifier, we're actually working to design a completely new robot to compete there. So yeah, we're working very hard to get that done as soon as we can.
And you took time to talk to us today. That's awesome.
Caroline, talk a little bit more about outreach. I know that is your thing on here.
So outreach includes like social media and meeting other people, meeting other teams, and really bringing them in and sharing our information and expertise with them. And we actually had a summer camp this year with 72 children, I believe.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we taught them the different levels of FIRST and how to program the robots and stuff like that. So
That is super cool. So what goes into, I know we talked a little bit about the planning of the robot, but then how do you go about actually building it, designing the parts like we talked about right before we went to break? How does that process work for you guys?
Okay, so we have a 6-step design process that we use. So we, and I think Peter described a little bit of this before the break. And basically we create a game strategy, and then we generate ideas, and from that we score our ideas, and then from that we start building whichever one wins. So
that's the decision matrix, right? That's the word you used, I think. What does that decision matrix look like? Or not look like, I guess it's more in your heads, right? What's that process?
So generally we'll use a spreadsheet, and we'll write down all the different ideas we have. For instance, with a block, then we might have an idea for a claw, or what we're using on our second robot is some star wheels to pick it up. We might have other wheels that we might want to try out. So we write down all those ideas, then we'll create criteria and put what we call a weight on them, which is how important it is. For instance, does it need to be light? How many motors can it use? Because we have an 8-motor max limit on our robot. So can it use all 8 motors? I mean, probably not, because it also needs to be able to drive around. And then we'll score each different option based on those criteria.
All right, and then of course you test some of your ideas, right? And whether it fails miserably, then you give it a 0 on that score, right?
Yeah, one of the main things that we tested this year was our angled sliders, and we actually did a bunch of calculations to figure out what angle they needed to be. And I believe the ones on this robot are at a 60-degree angle, and the ones at our other robot are at a 75-degree angle, because we did some more calculations and found that the 75 would work
You
better.
could still, a steep 75, boy. You need to put the Jake brake on the semi with that. Sarah.
So after you design the robot and you do the testing, what comes after that? Do you get to build more parts? Do you get to do more testing? How does that process work?
Yeah, so after we know what we would like to do, then we'll CAD everything, which it's like designing our robot, but instead of using physical parts, we do it all in a software, so that whenever we're actually building it, we can build it within like under 2 weeks.
Nice.
Because we know where each little screw is going to go, and then we also use that CAD to 3D print, CNC, and laser cut our parts as well.
Yes.
Now you keep mentioning CNC, and I know I don't look that old, but college was a while ago. So what does CNC mean? Because I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so CNC actually just stands for, I believe, computer numeric control. So that's basically just basically saying that to work a CNC, you basically put the part in, and you would develop a G code to say where exactly the bit would go to cut out the part.
So like a geoposition code. So it tells you what location it goes. And so this is like a drill bit that goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rings it around.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's a drill bit on like a gantry that's able to move it around to cut out whatever 2D shape you can.
Wow, and I have to say, I went to Lowe's and I got some new keys for my house, and who made it for me? A robot. Seriously, it did. It's scored it out for me and drilled it away with a G code, right? There we go.
So we only have 1 minute left. This went
Oh, my
so
goodness.
fast, guys. What are you most looking forward to in this season with this robot? Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah. There's a lot. It's been a lot.
One thing.
You can go ahead and say winning. It's all right. Winning's good. We like winning.
With our robot, I think for what I'm most looking forward to is just seeing it compete and seeing all of our hard work pay off, because right now, while we're building our second robot here, we've spent a lot of time on it, and there was a point where we weren't sure we were going to be able to finish it in time. So we're hoping to finish it today, actually, after we go home
Nice.
after this interview. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing it actually come into being and
Come alive.
start to be able to compete and drive around, and just seeing all of our hard work pay off.
Very good. And where can we follow you? I know you guys are on social. How can we see your progress on social media?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube. All Robo Raiders FTC, I believe.
Very nice. And we'll link to those two in the show notes so people can follow you. It has been super great having you guys in studio. I'm very excited to go out of the studio and actually watch this robot work. We will put that on our social media, Facebook and Instagram. Thanks so much for joining us in studio today, Robo Raiders.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Reverend Gribanoff.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.